Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. Now it's been a little while since the last upload on the channel, nearly 5 days in fact, wholly unacceptable, I'm fully aware of that one. And that is for reasons I'm not going to bore you with today, but here is a roundup of some of the news stories from the last week in Formula 1. It has been a busy week. I've got 5 stories for you today, starting with Max Verstappen, who has said that he feels Red Bull have actually overachieved so far in 2020. The Dutchman currently sits second in the Drivers' Championship, 6 points clear of Valtteri Bottas, but 37 points behind Lewis Hamilton, of course, therefore splitting the two Mercedes. And looking at the stats, since retiring from that opening race of the season in Austria, Verstappen has actually finished on the podium at every single race, including the win at the 70th anniversary Grand Prix at Silverstone. And speaking ahead of this weekend's Belgian Grand Prix, Verstappen said, "I think overall to be second in the few races where I think Mercedes had more pace, we definitely overachieved a bit. And besides that, we always maximised what we could. I am, of course, very happy with that." However, despite their good start to 2020, Verstappen is obviously not content finishing second or third in the championship as he wants to start fighting for titles. But he does accept that right now the team are not ready to challenge for the title and are really currently relying on picking up the pieces if and when Mercedes have a poor weekend. Now, on paper, Spa is not a track that favours Red Bull, but with rain a real possibility, all eyes will absolutely be on Max to see if he can challenge Mercedes for the win this weekend. As we've seen so many times over the years, if it rains at Spa, anything can happen. Next up, Charles Leclerc has explained why he drove with his seatbelts undone during the Spanish Grand Prix. So as I'm sure you will remember, Leclerc was thrown into a spin at the final chicane after suffering an electrical problem with his Ferrari, and initially it looked as though his race was over, but he was able to restart the engine and get his car moving again. However, whilst he was stopped out on track, Leclerc unfastened his seatbelts as he prepared to leave the car, but after managing to restart the engine, he tried to do his belts up again but soon realised something wasn't quite right and pitted after 2 laps before retiring. And speaking in Thursday's drivers' press conference, Leclerc explained, "I unbuckled myself once I knew that there was a problem with the engine. I didn't think I would go again. And then I re-put them on the way to go again on the track. I did 1 slow lap, especially to know if the engine was working properly again or not. And then on the second lap when I started to push, I realised that one of the 4 buckles we have as a seatbelt was not on. So I told it to the team and I stopped straight away." Now following the incident, it later transpired that an attachment used to help hold the belts in place was missing, and the mechanics were unable to replace that part when Leclerc eventually pitted, hence why he ultimately retired from the race. Next up, and in case you missed it earlier this week, Formula 1 confirmed the final calendar for the 2020 season, which includes a grand total of 17 races, just 5 fewer than what the original calendar was supposed to be. Not bad at all. So as expected, the season will conclude with 2 races in Bahrain on November 29th and December 6th, with the season finishing in Abu Dhabi on December 13th. But the big news and the very exciting news around all of this is the return of the Turkish Grand Prix. Now, it had been rumoured for a while that F1 bosses have been talking to the owners of the Istanbul Park circuit about the possibility of them holding a race this season, and on Tuesday, it was confirmed that a Grand Prix would return to the track on November 15th, and that's 2 weeks after the sport's return to Imola. F1 boss CAREY said that the sport was proud to see the return of Turkey to the calendar, as well as the confirmation of Bahrain and Abu Dhabi, and went on to pay tribute to everyone involved in putting the calendar together, including the FIA, the teams, and all of the sports partners. CAREY also added, "While we are all disappointed that we have not been able to return to some of our planned races this year, we are confident our season has started well and will continue to deliver plenty of excitement with traditional as well as new races that will entertain all our fans." And what a calendar we've ended up with. Even with the likes of Sochi still to come, this autumn of racing looks seriously exciting, and there are so many unknowns. Things like, what will the racing be like at the new additions like Mugello and Portimao? What about Imola? How will the current crop of F1 cars fare around there? Will Turkey be as good as we all remember? And just how cold will the Nürburgring be in October? Honestly, I cannot wait for this next few months. And on the subject of the calendar, it was confirmed shortly after FP1 today that the second race in Bahrain will be taking place around the shorter outer track, as has been rumoured for a while now. The layout, which some have described as oval-like, runs for 3.543 kilometres and consists of just 11 corners. It has also been confirmed that the race will be run over 87 laps, and according to F1, we can expect to see qualifying lap times below 55 seconds and race lap times below 60 seconds, or at least that's according to projections. Wow. And just as an FYI, the first race in Bahrain will be held around the usual 5.412 kilometre track that we are used to seeing in F1. I'm so excited for these new races, it's ridiculous. And now a different race around Bahrain as well, and not that ridiculous endurance layout thing. I'm so happy. Moving on though, and Renault caused a stir ahead of the Belgian Grand Prix by asking the FIA if the team's appeal against the punishment handed to Racing Point for copying the Mercedes brake ducts could be withdrawn. Can honestly say, did not see that coming. But anyway, a statement from the team following that request said, constructive work between the FIA, Renault and or Formula 1 stakeholders has led to concrete progress in safeguarding the originality in the sport by way of amendments to the sporting and technical regulations, confirming the requirements to qualify as a constructor. So essentially the team have been given enough assurances under the new Concord Agreement that enough is going to be done to try and stop similar cases to the Racing Point one, a bit less copycat. For now though, Renault want to put the whole controversy behind them and are focused on a strong finish to the 2020 season. Now at time of recording, it is still a request from Renault, but it is expected that it will be accepted and their appeal will be dropped. As for Ferrari though, it has been reported by the Press Association that they will continue with their appeal against Racing Point as the Scuderia seek further clarity on it all, specifically, according to the race at least, when it comes to the permitted chassis token usage for 2021. A hearing at the FIA's International Court of Appeal is expected to take place in the coming months, however no firm date has yet been set. And finally, Guenther Steiner has confirmed that Haas are looking at all the available options before making any decision on the team's driver lineup for 2021, and that does include the possibility of replacing both Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen. Haas joined all other teams last week in committing to Formula 1 by signing up to the new Concord Agreement, thus ending speculation over whether or not the team would remain in the sport beyond the end of the current campaign. And now, Steiner says all options are on the table when it comes to drivers and isn't ruling out changing the lineup the team have had since 2017. We are looking at all the drivers and we haven't made the decision. I'm not trying to be evasive, we just got the Concord Agreement done and I did not speak with Gene about drivers yet. I want his input on the drivers, so that will come soon. As soon as he can make it to a race, we will sit down and discuss it, but at the moment everything is on the table from keeping the drivers we've got to getting 2 rookies. Grosjean is keen to stay with the team for 2021 but said that the focus right now is not on talks, but on trying to get the best results possible over the rest of this season. And his teammate Kevin Magnussen added that with the races coming thick and fast, there has been no good reason to talk about next season's lineup and the priority was always the team's future. But with that now sorted, attention has turned to which drivers will take Haas forward into the future. So what do you guys think? If you were in Steiner's position, which 2 drivers would you sign up for 2021 and beyond? Would you go with a whole new lineup or perhaps even stick with Rogro and K-Mag? You can, as ever, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. That is it for this week's roundup then, but I will be back later in the weekend with some more content. I won't leave it 5 days this time. But in the meantime, don't forget that you can of course follow me over on social media and all of the links you need for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching and hopefully I will catch you again in the next one. Bye bye.